Hello and welcome to the Alté Ldn podcast. This is our first episode. It's kind of all a bit crazy. So my name is Charlene. I'm one of your hosts, and we have.
I'm Afia. I'm your other host. So yeah, guys, it's crazy times. We're in a pandemic, so we're like, yeah, let's start a podcast. Why not?
Yeah, to be fair, Afia and I chat about alternative things all the time, so it kind of just like makes sense for us to share these conversations with the world. I feel like. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have a lot of opinions about certain things, so we definitely need to share them.
I agree. Cool. So, why we're doing this podcast, as we said, we've got a lot of time. We have a lot of things to say, but we also like alternative Black culture. I feel like that's not really like highlighted enough. Like obviously, I'm down for the Peruvian, Brazilian, all the above, but personally, me, like I like to just keep it simple, poetic, justice vibes. You know what I mean? So, like Afia is like the queen of Dr. Martens.
They're literally my life. So it's funny though saying that. I think we've all gone through every like alternative Black child has gone through like people judging your fashion sense. So I remember obviously now everyone wears Dr. Martens, but like I started wearing them in school, so I must have been like 13, 14. I was like, oh, why are you wearing builder shoes? Why are you wearing builder shoes? And now all you see is them same people wearing those shoes. It's like, I've been wearing these. I've known about Dr. Martens, and now everyone's on the hype because they're popular. But yeah, you know, the life of an alternative Black child is hard. It's hard, but it's character develop. It's character development. I feel like going through all of that.
It definitely is character development. And interestingly enough, my dad is obsessed with Dr. Martens, so I used to wear Dr. Martens to school in primary school as well, and like they're definitely a vibe. Although they do hurt my feet, but like they're definitely a vibe. I've learned that you have to break them in.
You do. You have to power through.
But yeah, and let's just get onto it. So our first episode is going to be about High Fidelity, which is one of the best television shows that have come out this year.
Definitely.
It came out on Valentine's Day on the Hulu streaming service, and it is based off of a book by a British author. And also it was made into a musical, which didn't really do well, and then also a film as well, which was like probably, yep, it was on Broadway for a little bit, but it didn't do well, kind of flopped still. So I mean, where do we start? Zoë Kravitz.
Where do we begin? I think we got to take it back to the start though. We got to go from the beginning. We will build up to Zoë Kravitz because, you know, you guys will find out now that we're actually like pretty obsessed with Zoë Kravitz. So we'll get to that point.
But yeah, do you want to take it away? Like, where do you want to start, Afia?
So we can start from the book. Obviously, the book came out. I actually don't know what year it was released. I should have researched that, but I didn't. But the book was
98.
98. And the book was actually set in London, which is actually quite interesting. So it's completely different to both the film and the TV series. But I think the film definitely paved the way for the TV series to be set in Brooklyn, because obviously the movie was set in Chicago. It's about a person who owns, we'll say person because in the film it's a guy, and the TV show it's a woman, but yes, it's based on a guy or a woman who owns a record store, and they're going through the trials and tribulations of breakups. They're trying to figure out, what do these things mean? Why do I keep getting dumped? Why do I keep getting left?
Which I mean is like super like self-deprecating, like, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna like think to myself in a few years' time, oh, like well, I wonder why like these last 5 people broke up with me. Like, I don't know if that's like really a good use of time, but that's kind of the story, right? So like the main character, Rob, and they have the same name in both the TV show and the film. They are not quite developed as an adult, and definitely have some growing up to do, even though they're very much like, I think it's like late 20s, early 30s, I think is like the age.
So they're just turning 30, I think. That's Rob, because Rob turns 30 in the series. So they're like,
exactly.
late 20s, early 30s.
So, and it's just there's so many flaws.
There's
so many flaws, but it's like you've got to love them. Like you've got to love Rob because he or she is so beautifully flawed. What are you going to say?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's how a lot of people can relate to it, because I think one of the hardest things to do when you're growing up is to actually look at your flaws, and to see it on TV so obviously, or in the film so like clearly. It makes you think of a lot of the ways that you are towards other people, or the way you are to yourself. So yeah, I think it's good to highlight these things. Self-reflection is one of the hardest things, and I feel like Rob, the character, does not do that.
So hard. Like it's legit so hard.
It's so hard.
Like it's definitely been a transition, but I think it's actually important for everyone to do. Because sometimes you're just not always right, and it's such a hard pill to swallow.
Right.
It is such a hard pill to swallow. But yeah, so Rob, as Afia sort of already mentioned, let's talk about the TV show, and then we can relate things to the film if we like. But yeah, Rob is, as we said, played by the wonderful, amazing, beautiful Zoë Kravitz, which is actually really interesting because her mum stars in the original film, which is really cool. And they're like a carbon copy of each other. Like they just look so alike, for real. And they're just so cool. And so Rob owns a record store, and as Afia said, it kind of focuses on like her top 5. So the running theme throughout all of it is like top 5 breakups, top 5 songs, top 5 moments. Like that's like a reoccurring theme throughout the TV show and also throughout the film. But really the main focus is her sort of latest and sort of most heartbreaking heartbreak, which again is relates to the film, because that is kind of like the main focus of the film as well. So at the beginning of the series, you see when the Rob's sort of, soulmate, well, so she thinks anyway, kind of leaves and offs and is like, yeah, I'm going back to London. It's like, peace out, man. And at the beginning of the film as well, you see Rob's girlfriend leave and being like, I can't do this anymore, I'm out. So that's kind of like the basis. Kind of really heartbreaking, don't you think?
It is really sad. And like I think the sort of like build up, it's interesting to see the build up to that point, because obviously it starts at that stage, but then she goes back into the past and you can see the mistakes that she's made in her previous relationship. Like obviously gets that part where she breaks up with like the love of her life, because she's made all these mistakes of all her other past relationships. It's messed up so much, she's jeopardized like one of the best things that could happen to her. And the same with him as well in the movie. So it's interesting to see the beginning of all of that to the end of that. But yeah, it is very heartbreaking to see it begin like that. So you're just wondering, where is this journey going to take us? So
yeah. So essentially, to summarize, kind of like, it's a 10 episode series. Hopefully, we'll get a season 2. Fingers crossed, because it was 2 live. But yeah, in general, essentially, what happens is we see the arc of her greatest love, if you like, Mac, leave. He goes back to England, but then he comes back. He moves back to New York. However, when he moves back with a fiance, which is all a bit mad. But throughout that, Rob does try to sort of date or see other guys in order to like get herself through whatever she's going through and try and, make better decisions in terms of her love life, and ends up sort of dating a guy called Clyde. Dating's kind of strong. We'll say seeing a guy called Clyde. He's like a stand-up guy.
But speaking about that, just to get the beginning of that though, because like the running theme of Rob is that she's a self-saboteur, and you actually see that in the first episode where she actually goes to meet Clyde for the first time, and like what they spoke about in the episode after that is that she just actually seen Max, so she was a bit like discombobulated, and then she had to go to this date with Clyde, and then she was actually going to leave the date because she found it a little bit awkward, but then she forgot her phone, had to come back, and then like from then that's when they started bonding. So it's like it was fate. Actually, it was fate, because he was a really good guy. Actually, but like, fate. Had she not have forgotten her phone, she never would have seen him again. And I think he was a very nice and stand-up guy. So, but Rob, as we said, is self-saboteur. So,
no, definitely. Like, and he comes through, man. In the series, he actually comes through. Like, comes through clutch. Like, there's such a great episode where there's a lady who wants to get rid of her cheating ex-husband's records, and he like drives her into the city to have a look at them. She doesn't end up getting them because she feels bad, although he does actually teeth one of them for her.
Yeah, it's just so cute.
Definitely.
She
and
loved
that actually is... go.
I was gonna say she loved this David Bowie album that she saw in the collection. It was like one of the first things she saw, and she was like, "I've wanted this since like the 8th grade. This has been like a dream record for me." But then obviously, she didn't take the records, and then he surprised her and gave her the record, and it was just a nice romantic end to that episode. It was lovely.
And so Clyde is just
but
not such a stand-up guy.
Exactly, she didn't want it.
He's not though. Like he's got some grit to him. Like I think that was like her issue. Like she thought he was kind of too like nice and like too like stand up. But like no, like he's got some grit. Like he teethed up a record from someone's house.
True.
Like, really and truly, that woman would have called the cops.
True. And after that as well, she's speaking on that is the scene where she actually is in a situation where she actually meets Mac and his fiance, and then actually invites Clive along. No one actually knows who he is, and so she just calls him her boyfriend just to make it look like she's doing well to Mac's face. And then obviously they get in that fight, and I think she's quite shocked when Clive just comes out of nowhere and knocks this guy out. And it's like, whoa, like you've been really sweet all this time. Like where has this come from? So I think you're definitely right. There is something like underlying there. So
no, definitely. But yeah, and then so there's Clyde, and then there's also a musician that she goes to a show and he's singing like a rendition of a Boyz II Men song. He's from like Scotland or something.
Yeah.
And they end up chilling, and they like I guess somewhat dating kind of sort of bit. Like they definitely like sleep together. She goes over to his apartment and they like chill, and she goes to like a show. But then he has to go on tour. But she also finds out that he's like super young and like he's like 10 or something like that. So he's like 10 years younger than her. But what's really cool about that is that in the original film, that position is played by her mum, obviously as a female. However, it's so dope. So that's really cool. And a cool sort of homage to like the original.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Liam's life is short-lived in the series. Like, but he's endearing. I'll give her that.
Well, I found him pretty corny. Like if I'm comparing it to like the Lisa Bonet version, he was pretty corny. But I mean, yeah. He added a little bit.
Yeah, Joe. Lisa Bonet was too cool. Right. So Lisa Bonet plays Mary DeSalle in the original film, and she was too cool for school. Like, so there's a scene where they go back to the musician's apartment. So as we said in the original film, it's Lisa Bonet playing Marie DeSalle, and in the series it's Liam, but it's literally the same scene sequence. And but when Zoë Kravitz goes back to Liam's apartment, like he's kind of like, I would say somewhat a bit flustered. He's like trying to be cool, like. Whereas like when Rob in the original film goes back to Marie DeSalle's apartment, she's chilling. Like she is. Yeah,
she's just the whole vibe.
She's a whole vibe, like mother, like daughter, a whole actual vibe. So yeah, no, that's really cool. And should we talk about the ending, of course? So
yeah, the ending.
I mean, they end very differently.
They do. Huh? Yeah, they do. So we can talk about the movie ending. The movie ending was like, I'll say that's quite a happy ending in a sense.
Yeah.
Because he actually gets back with his lover that he left in the beginning. Obviously he like went through all these trials and tribulations, like how did I get here? What does all of this mean? Why did I go through all these breakups? Figures it out, and then like she wants to get back with him in the end. They get engaged, right? They get engaged?
He kind of was just like, yeah, like I feel like we're gonna get engaged, but didn't quite get engaged.
Yeah. So I feel like it was a nice ending. It was an abrupt ending, but it was nice.
It was very abrupt. Yeah. But I also like that it ended with Jack Black singing Let's Get It On.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sick.
Yeah.
Fucking sick. And then, but however, the ending of the TV show now was like, that was heart-wrenching.
Deep. That was deep.
It was very deep. So like, yeah. Do you want to explain what happens with Mac?
So I'm going to say, well, spoiler alert. I mean, the whole episode's been a spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen it, then I'm sorry about this point. But like, basically so she has her 30th birthday, which is so depressing in itself, like the episode. So she's like tries to ring around all of her friends. Like the guys from the record store can't make it; they've got plans. Some of her other friends that she's like not even seen for a long time, she tries to give them a ring, like, hey, like it's my birthday, do you want to hang out? No one really comes through apart from these two random people that she like has never seen for a long time. She goes to this bar and like just to the two of them, it's really awkward. She doesn't really know the people that well. And then I remember, I think the birthday cake scene is like, it's pretty sad. So like there was another table who had like a birthday cake delivered and everyone's like saying happy birthday. And she was like, guys, you got me a cake, you got me a cake. And then like the friends look really embarrassed, like, yeah, I know, sorry, we didn't get you anything. And she was just like so sad. And I was like, oh no. And yeah, she was like, yeah, it's my 30th. They're like, it's your 30th and this is what you're doing. And yeah, that was just sad in itself. So then, yeah, anyway, Mac must have remembered it was her birthday and like they went to like hang out on a rooftop. And she actually admits the reason why. So the reason why they broke up was because she started to become really distant. That's how he explained to her. He said that he didn't feel like she was that in love with him anymore. And then she admitted that the night that they actually got engaged, she went and slept with somebody else. Well, I don't think she slept with him. I think she kissed somebody else. She cheated on him anyway. And yeah, he was devastated. And like the reason why I feel like that scene was so frustrating is that when you think about it, there really was no reason for them to have broken up in the first place because everything was pretty perfect. But because she'd done that and then became so distant from doing that and felt so guilty, it just wrecks the relationship. But like as we said, you know, Rob is a classic self-saboteur, so that is how we.
I mean, and that is it. She just fully sabotaged herself.
Did.
Like
she freaked
absolutely
out.
Hard. Like
Yeah.
oh, crazy. I couldn't believe it. Like I was so heartbroken
so
because I was like,
upset.
no, her and Mac are gonna definitely get back together.
Yeah,
like I was like,
yeah.
they're definitely gonna get back together.
Yeah.
And I was legit heartbroken.
Yeah, because like from
I
then
couldn't
he was
believe
like,
it.
yeah, he was like, you've wrecked it. Because I feel like he sort of wanted to get back with her as well, even though he had the fiance, but he was sort of like remembering the time, just like, yeah, do you know what? In his head he was like, yeah, we can work this out. And then she told him that, and it's just he was
definitely.
like, nah. But then
it's heartbreaking.
Saying that, so that obviously happens. He runs off. He's upset. She's crying. She gets her back to her apartment. She's got no key, so she can't get inside. She's like, "Fuck, who can I ring?" She calls someone. We don't know who it is, but she's like, "Yeah, like, have you still got my keys?" They're like, "Yeah, cool. I'm coming over." They come over. Obviously, it's Mac, and we're like, "Oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" And then that episode, I remember it ends with them like just She's standing on the stairs, and he's at the bottom of the stairs, and they're just staring at each other. And you're like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?" And then the next episode starts. I think like she just apologizes for like what happened. And he was like, yeah, like it really pisses me off because like this is like what I said before, like we broke up for no reason. Our breakup was for nothing. And then they kissed, which was actually really nice. But then it was like, well, he's engaged, so what is really going to happen? But yeah, it was just a really frustrating moment, and that's probably the most angry I felt of. I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed.
No, 100%. But the thing is that we can all kind of relate to that though. Like I definitely self-sabotage
for sure.
Like it's like the fear of like not like it's the fear of like failing though. That's why I self-sabotage. And I feel like that's the same for Rob. Like she's like she doesn't want to fail at it because really that day when she saw the engagement ring, she was like, shit, like everything's so perfect. I don't want anything to go wrong. So then she was like, oh fuck it, let me just go out for a couple of hours and go cheat on my boyfriend and soon to be fiance. Like she was scared of like the fear of like failing and like guys, as a lesson, like we can't be doing that. Like we just can't. Like when something's going good, believe it and let's live it, you know, like let's actually live it.
It's so scary, and I've done that so much. Like we're both musicians, so I think musicians are naturally just perfectionists as it is. And like I've personally 100%. Had like so many projects where I've started and they start like really good, and then like I get to a point where I just can't do it anymore. I'm like, no, it's not going well. I'm just going to stop it. And then I've like just stopped it. And I've literally got so many songs unfinished because of that like perfectionist and like scared of like failure mindset that I have. So like, yeah, I can definitely relate to why she would do that. And like one quote that she said is like, I've always got one foot in and one foot out because I'm just waiting for like other opportunities. And I feel like that's something that a lot of us do. Like you're sort of halfway in, but you're like, well, you know, if it fucks up, what are my opportunities outside of this? So like, yeah, I really relate to
100%.
That. I really relate.
And sometimes you only put one foot in because you're like, okay, well, it's like an excuse. So like, oh, if it didn't go well, you know, I only put one foot in. Had I put 2 foot in, we don't know what would have happened. And you kind of like you leave that sort of unknown because you're like, oh, you never really try to get to that place of unknown because you don't want to feel that sort of that that almost depression of like putting your all into something and then not reaping the same benefit or reward that you would expect.
Definitely.
That like it's self-deprecating to a T. Like that is the epitome.
Definitely.
So you have to take risks in life, guys. You have to take risks.
I think especially when it comes to relationships, and that's something that I've learned the older I get, you have to put your all in, because if it's only one of you putting like all of you in and then the other one's only putting half in, it's just not going to work. It's just really not going to work. 100%. And like you have to be vulnerable. It's so scary. I mean, it's the scariest thing to be vulnerable with someone, but that is really the only way that it could work. I mean, it could go really wrong, and then it's a learning lesson. Yeah, you'll get hurt, but then you'll rebuild a stronger person. You'll learn from that, but it is worth the risk of putting your all in to get something wonderful out. That is the words.
We're trying. We're trying. And then in terms of Clyde, that ends really sadly as well. Because do you want to explain what happened to that?
So like obviously that whole scene happens with Mac, and I think in her head she's kind of like, yeah, that's happened, but like, you know, he's getting married, like I've got to move on. So that same night she was actually supposed to meet Clyde, and he texts her like, oh, it's your birthday, like let's do something. She's like, cool. But obviously she's in this whole like depressive like Mac funk, so she just forgets it and then goes to bed. And I think she tries to ring him the next day like, I'm really sorry, like I forgot to like meet up with you, and then he just wouldn't answer his phone. She kept calling him, she kept texting him, he just wouldn't answer. And then I think she then goes to his house and is like, hey, like, you know, do you want to like, actually no, stuff happened before that. The scene in the pub at her brother's birthday. So basically in that scene he was actually trying to like say like, do you want to like do this? Do you want to like make something of it? And she was kind of like, no. She was like, no. And he was like, what? And like you think that she wanted, because the way she was acting was as if she wanted something out of it. But yeah, basically that happened. So he was upset. So she goes to his house and then was like reconsidering like, yeah, actually maybe we should like make it work. And he was like, no, I'm not actually going to do this to myself. And I actually rated him so much that I was like, yes, Clyde, have some respect for yourself, because you don't deserve it. Because she's been messing around, like pulling him in, pushing him away, like he doesn't deserve it. And like you thought that he would just be like, oh yeah, it's fine. But I like that they just didn't let him like give in like that. He had like that restraint.
But I was heartbroken.
I know, you could see it was so hard for him. It was so hard. You could see it in his face.
No, he was definitely having like an inside like battle with like what to say. But the romantic in me was just like, just be like, yeah, happily ever after. Let's skip into the sunset, like all that. And it's just, my heart was hurting.
He said no, and then she was like, well, she's like, okay, fair enough, but like, you know, what's the percentage of you liking me? He was like 9%, and she was like, cool, I'll have that. And then she left him. So it looks like she's gonna try. She's gonna keep trying.
Let's hope that she tries in season 2. So if anyone at Hulu's watching this, or Disney, which is like the parent company, please greenlight this, because the shit was live.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, great. Honestly, guys, if you've not watched it, I do apologize for the spoilers. But honestly, there's so much more that we haven't discussed about it. Like, and so it's such a good watch. If you need some help in how to watch it, just DM us. DM us. But yeah, so there's so many other things though about the show. So really, one thing we haven't really touched upon is the two other main focuses of the show, which are the fashion and the music.
Yes,
amazing. And this really fits into our alt life culture that we're about on this podcast, because I mean, the fashion. Mazza.
The fashion. Every episode,
Zoë Kravitz.
Beautiful.
She's just real. Like, she's just so real. Like, you're a record shop owner, but you're fully wearing Gucci loafers.
Right.
Like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, but they're also like tatted up enough to like where they really look like worn in. That they look like they actually like her shoes. I think they are her shoes actually.
Yeah, I think they are her shoes. I've seen her wearing them in interviews. So which is one thing. I researched this actually. She picked a lot of her own clothes for the show, and like she thrifted a lot of them and went to charity stores or vintage stores and stuff like that. Because they wanted to keep that really authentic like Brooklyn feel. Like you said, they're all tatted up. They've got like worn in like Dickies tops and like just
we love Dickies.
We love Dickies. And like the interesting fact about the Dickies top is that she had worn it to pay homage to John Cusack's Rob character, because he wore it. I think he wore it a lot in the film actually, or maybe he wore it in one scene. But yeah, she wanted to wear it. Yeah, she wanted to wear it just to pay tribute to his version of the character, which I really like. But yeah.
And even just like the beaten up Adidas trainers as well, that's also like paying homage to the original to the original film as well, as John Cusack also wears like I think they're Sambas, so Adidas Sambas in the original film, and that's what she rocks. I don't understand how she looks so effortlessly chic, like, but she actually, like, the clothes she's wearing are like not even that exciting, but they're exciting to the alt lifestyle, okay? Like that type of shit excites us.
Yeah. I mean, like, she's dressed like all, I mean, she's just all like laid back, and then she just like tops it off that 100%. Nice long leather jacket. Like, it just
100%.
It's just that. And we have to talk about the boots, because those boots that she wears in like pretty much every episode with every outfit. I think most people have those shoes that go with every outfit, and she's found those shoes. So they're actually like Helmut Lang boots. And I found this out because I did like maybe about an hour's worth of research trying to find these boots. I was like, I have to have them, or like a dupe at least. So I found them, and they're actually £655. So I was like,
just a small token.
just a small price.
A small price.
And yeah, they're sold out everywhere. So if you are looking for them, I'm sorry, you can't get them unless it's someone's like Depop or eBay them, which I also tried to find, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, the boots, I call them the boots because they're probably the best boots I've ever seen in my life. And if I could have them, it would be a dream. But yeah,
look out for Alté Ldn fashion brand coming soon.
Yes.
But no, those boots are incredible, and she wears them with like so many different outfits, as Ify has just said.
Dress them up, dress them down.
Killer.
Love it.
They've got like a 70s kind of feel, like, because obviously got a bit of a platform, but then they're like patent leather, so then they're just like exciting. She wore them with like a cute slip dress. She wore them with jeans, like she wore them literally with so many different outfits, and it's just like those are what you call true versatile shoes. Like she's got going on for real.
Well, I mean, I think,
and yeah, okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, are you gonna talk about more of the fashion?
No, go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, along with the fashion, I think the key thing of the show obviously is the music. They work in a fashion store, and like the music is so good because it's a fashion
store. They work in a record store.
A record store, sorry, because I'm getting confused about fashion. They work in a record store. Obviously, the music is the main focus, and like the reason why Mac was a big part of her life again is also because she made him a playlist. And like she says, like, playlists are a delicate art. Which it really is. It really is a delicate art. Have you ever made a playlist for someone that you like? Because it's actually the hardest thing. That's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I like making playlists, but making a playlist for someone you care about is so hard.
It's really hard. I've attempted to do it, but and you'll get to know this over the course of our episodes, but our musical taste is all over the gaff. All over the gaff.
Right.
All over the place. So it's so difficult for me because it's so crazy, because there's like stereotypes of what like people should listen to, like based upon what you look like. Let's be real. You know, we're both from London, so and we're both black. So you might think, oh, you know, they're into the typical R&B, hip hop, which, don't get me wrong, amazing music. But no, we're the old lifestyle bitches.
We're more than that, yeah.
So there's so much more to it, and that's what I really appreciate about the TV show and the film. They really, really go, like, the playlist and the song list is shockingly amazing.
So because they go.
What I also like is that they start off with the same song. So I can't stand the rain.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. They start off with the same song in both the TV show and the film. But yeah.
But yeah, like, I think I made it a mission, because I've actually never made a playlist for like someone that you love or like someone really close to you before watching this series. And I was like, let me actually try it, because usually I make playlists just depending on my mood. So I've got like a playlist for literally every mood. I've got like laid back vibes, I've got like alternative vibes, R&B chill vibe, like all this. Most of them are just vibes. I like laid back shit. But yeah,
100.
Like, I actually tried to make a playlist for my boyfriend, and like what I had to do for the first time was actually really listen to the lyrics. And with music, I don't listen to the lyrics so much. I think that's a secondary thing. I listen to the music and then I listen to the lyrics a second time. But yeah,
Agreed,
so like trying to do this playlist, and then I had to listen to the lyrics of every song that I was putting on, and like it was a very emotional experience, and I really appreciated like it was so emotional. I really appreciate what Rob did, because like it is a delicate art and it is so personal. So like her making this playlist for Mac, you could see like how vulnerable she must have been feeling doing this, and then she just send it off, even though she knew that she had a fiance. She was like, well, you know, I feel the way I feel, so I'm just gonna send it. And like it really, just creating a playlist is personal because the words will say exactly what you feel. And I love like expressing yourself through music. I mean, as we said, we're musicians, so that's how we express ourselves. So yeah, doing that is very
100%.
intimate, I would say.
No, definitely. And there's nothing like when you make a playlist for someone, them like reacting to it, and like you're just waiting for them to get, like, you're waiting for that reaction.
Yeah.
So it must have been so hard for her, given that he was unlikely to do so, given the situation that they were in. But mate, it's crazy. Like I live for the, like, you know, watching the face of like the person who I've made a playlist for, and like seeing them like be like, oh my god, you put this on here, or oh my gosh, this is so cute. And yeah, you're right, it's such an emotional process.
It is, for sure.
It's such an emotional process. Like music really is emotional for us. But yeah, just in general, in terms of the TV show, they have so many classic songs that they played and made so many classic references. Actually, the music like executive music producer is from The Roots. What is his name? That's so bad. Yes, Questlove. So Questlove from The Roots. He's a music executive music producer. So he obviously has apparently he's got one of the biggest record collections in the world, which I believe.
I can hear that.
So, but so as well as them having like original music in the playlist, they paid homage a lot to the original film. They had, you know, quite a few similar songs in that too. If you had to pick like a favorite song or some favorite songs from the playlist, what would you pick?
So I'm actually,
by the way, the playlist is on Spotify for all those people who want to listen.
I was just gonna say. So actually, I would actually say I think for the series itself, I wouldn't say this is my favorite song on the whole playlist, but for the series itself, when I listened to it, I really felt it was probably Loving You, Minnie Riperton. And it's a very obvious song to choose, but I feel like it encapsulates the whole of the show. Loving You is easy because it's loving you. What is it? Loving You is easy because you're beautiful. Which is like basically what she's been trying to say to like Mac for the whole thing. So I feel like that song in particular, like I just enjoyed listening to it with the series. It just made sense for it to be in there. But there were some other favorites that I like anyway, like Electric Relaxation by Tribe Called Quest.
I was literally going to say that.
I love that song, so I love hearing that.
Same.
And also, which I was surprised to hear, was a song by Betty Davis called They Say I'm Different, and I love that song. And I think she's a bassist, and like she's had a pretty cool life as well. So she was married to Miles Davis and apparently had an affair with Jimi Hendrix. I mean, like, this is a sick,
that's crazy.
When I heard her in the series, I was like, yes. So like, yeah, there's such a mix, and then they go from like that's like David Bowie to like Outkast to like Biggie. Like, yeah, it's mad. But yeah, what's your favorite?
I mean, to be honest, you hit the nail on the head for me. Definitely Electric Relaxation by a Tribe Called Quest. And then also definitely down with Nike's Frank Ocean.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh gosh, Janet Jackson, I Get Lonely.
That was great. That was
like,
great.
They just have so much music in it. So honestly, we definitely recommend that you go and take a listen to the playlist. It's definitely on Spotify. We don't know if it's on Apple Music, but have a look for it. It may be there. So such an important part, and I feel like the music really helped to like drive the narrative in both films. Sorry, in both the film and the TV show, but especially the TV show. Like it really just played such a huge part to it. I mean, she walks into the bar or club and listens to Liam. He's singing like Boyz II Men, "I'll Make Love to You," which is such an interesting choice. Like such an interesting choice. I feel like that was like really telling us to like where that storyline was going to go. And you know, lo and behold, they made love to one another. So. No, crazy. But yeah, amazing show. So much to talk about, and we just recommend it.
100%.
We spoke about our top music moments. If you had to pick one of your favorite scenes, what would your favorite scene be?
So, like, personally, I'm a person who really enjoys being in their feelings. So I think my favorite scene, even though it was a sad scene, was when she told Mac that she cheated on him. I just thought the acting was so good, and I just felt so in the scene. I was like, oh my god, this is devastating, because it's like you built up to this point, and you're like, yeah, like Rob's kind of annoying. She's self-obsessed, but like, you know, she should be loved. You know, like what's she done so bad that Mac didn't want her? And then you find out, and you're like, no, and it's so frustrating, but so great, because you built up. Because it's like, what is it, the 9th or 10th episode it happened? No, it's the 9th episode. But like, I feel like it was just such a nice climax, and you're like, oh, I thought it was satisfying, even though it was really sad. But yeah, that's my favorite scene.
I mean, that's just like heartbreaking. It's like, I just don't understand how that. Anyways, that was honestly heartbreaking.
It was.
I have a few favorite scenes. There's a scene in the record store where so Divine, which is her real name, and her name in the show. What is her name in the show, Afia?
Charisse. Wait, what?
Charisse. That's it. Why did I struggle so hard? Okay. Charisse is like, let's dance, and Rob is like, nah. And then they're like, she goes to the door, she's like, come on. And she's doing a shimmy in her shoulders. And then Rob comes out and she does a little two-step thing. I was gassed. I was like, you're just like, why are you so cool? Like, even that's those are little moments that I just love.
I just love what Charisse said. She was like, oh, you're really a black girl today. Yeah. It's just funny in that part.
Yeah, for real day. Like, we be feeling that same thing though. Like, people be really moving to us like, you're black today.
Yeah.
You might be black every day. It's just like, no, I'm black every day.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my favorite scenes. Also, another favorite scene I had, which was also paying homage to the film, was when she was like she has a lot of scenes where she's like in her head and she's like fantasizing about what's happening when it's not actually happening. Really, she's just standing there. So this is when they come out. She comes outside of the bar after meeting Mac's fiance for the first time, and she's like, and the fiance is like, yeah, like I want everything to be cool. And then you think that she's reacting like she's like kicking her to the ground. She's like punching her. Like they do like several different like scenarios of what could happen, but really she's just standing there. She's like, yeah. Okay. And the same exact thing happens in the film with John Cusack, and his love's person that they're with now, and I believe that person's called Ian or Ray.
Yeah.
He envisions the same thing. So for that, he comes into the record store, and he's just like, look, you keep like harassing my girl. And then he's like, in his head, he's just like envisioning like beating him up or something like that. So yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. I thought it was so well done. Like it had me shook. Like I was like, oh my gosh, she's actually beating her up. And then like when they came out of like the sort of fake fantasy, I was like, rah, like that's actually fake.
Because the thing is, they did it like 4 times. So you're like, okay, is this the real thing? Then it comes out someone, you're like, okay. And then it's like, is this not? No, it's funny. Because the next scene, she was like glassing her up. And I was like, rah. And it came back to normal.
100%. Like, I was like, what's going on, mate?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that's probably my second, after the sad scene, that's my second favourite one. That is a good scene.
After the sad scene. You know, but as we said so many times, honestly, it's worth such a watch. There's so many different nuggets, and also if you're American enthusiasts like Afia and I are, well, really specifically New York and LA, then you're just gonna love it just for the vibes of walking through. Like she's walking through like Crown Heights in Brooklyn, just like seeing like the shops, and like I understand that I think they filmed part of it on location at least, so that actually is Brooklyn. So, and that's where Zoë Kravitz actually like lives. Like that's where she's lived for a while now. So definitely it was clear that there was like a real connection for me to like the setting for her, and that's probably why it was so easy for her to play the role, but she played it so wonderfully. She really, really, really did it justice, I think.
Definitely. And I was really impressed by her as an actress as well, because I don't feel like, was she in X-Men? Because I can't remember what else she's been in. Was she in X-Men? I don't know. But yeah, I feel like I've seen
Zoë
her.
Kravitz?
Yeah, Zoë Kravitz. I'm trying because I don't think I've seen her in
Yeah, she was in
anything.
X-Men, yeah.
She was in X-Men, okay. So I've seen her in that, and like obviously I don't remember her role that much. It wasn't that memorable for me. But seeing her in this, like, she is such a good actress. And like usually with kids who like come from famous parents, they just sort of get a free ride and they're not really that great. But like she's definitely like works on her craft for sure. Like obviously she was in a band
100%.
before, and now she's like this great actress. Like yeah, she is like something else, honestly. So yeah, I was very impressed.
Shout out to Lola Wolf, though.
Yeah, Lola Wolf.
Shout out to Lola Wolf. Lola Wolf are sick. Like I used to proper bang out her music when I was writing essays for uni. So it's so live. Guess well, out of a rating of 10, what would you give it, Fia?
Oh, I can never give it anything 10 out of 10. I'll give it 9.5. It could be a 10, but I'm going to give it 9.5. Yeah. What would you give it?
And do you think it's better than the original film?
I think it's better than the original film. I don't know if it's because I like Zoë Kravitz a lot. It probably is that. But I feel like there was more to it. Obviously, like, because they had episodes, they could expand on, like, the incidents that happened in the films, for example. So there was more to it. Yeah. So, yeah, I just think it's really well done. So, yeah, that's
no, definitely.
5.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a strong 9. And the only reason why I wouldn't give it a 10 is because I'm like, I wanted a few more episodes.
Right.
But yeah, like I'm like, I definitely could have sat through at least 2-3 more episodes. Like I just feel like there's so much there. But again, shout out to season 2. Hopefully there's going to be a season 2. Obviously there's going to be a delay to it because of this Miss Rona. But coronavirus. But yeah, hopefully fingers crossed we can get it soon. Such a good show. And so that comes to the end of that segment.
Yeah.
And just in general, this is kind of nearing the end of our first episode.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because honestly, it's been so fun and we've really exhausted the topic of high fidelity, which is exactly I didn't have anyone else to do this with.
I know.
I had no one else to do this with, so I do appreciate this a lot. But in terms of what you can expect, we're going to be definitely looking at just all things like Black culture, fashion, art, music. So you can just get a vibe of just so many different things. We might even talk about travel, and there's so much we want to talk about. I think it's just important to like give like us a voice. There are other, places out there that are chatting about this stuff and it's great, and we just want to add more to that conversation. So
definitely. I feel like we've finally been given a space now, because I feel like there's so many, I would say with musicians especially, so many alternative Black artists that are coming out, like the internet, Sid from the internet, Steve Lacy, Moses Sumney, all those sorts of people. There's like more people coming out, and it feels like, oh my gosh, there's people like me finally, and like you feel like you're given room. So I feel like us creating this space here as well is so important, and also adding to what's also going on right now, because it's really exciting out there. So
100%, man. Shout out to like platforms like Afropunk and things like that, which celebrate this type of thing. And we don't have all the answers, but we definitely have some good opinions. I feel like we've got a good voice, we have some great things to say, and shout out to what's coming.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for listening to our first
Thank you for listening. Definitely follow the Instagram, which is Alté Ldn podcast at Alté Ldn podcast. We're going to be posting some cool just inspo on there, and we hope to have more episodes coming for you. I guess the idea is, well, let's not even say how often we're going to do it. Let's just let's
just gotta wait.
You'll see more episodes coming. Thank you. This is us out. Peace out.